Hey guys, DeathClock Dave here, and welcome to my fourth Convergence game log, where I am taking note of all of the games that I play with my Convergence in 2018, doing a general battle report, and also doing some reflections and lessons learned to help me grow and move forward as a player. And if these reports help you guys out as well, that is awesome. So this is round 3 in a tournament that we went to in Vancouver on February 25th. So at this point, I had won my first round, lost my second round, and this is the third and final round of the tournament. We had just 11 or 12 players, so between that and the fact that several of us had a long way to drive home in a blizzard at the end of this, we wanted to not go too late, so just 3 rounds for this one. So we were playing scenario 1, which is the pit 2. And I was playing obviously my Axis Orion Destruction Initiative pairing, and my opponent was playing his Retribution. He had Assyria, Shadows of the Retribution, and Kalissa, Defenders of Io. So my opponent's a great guy. He's one of our local players that went down with us. Not super experienced. He doesn't play a lot of games, particularly not really competitive games. He doesn't have a ton of experience necessarily with these lists or against Convergence. So it was really just kind of a fun game. I also got to cheat a little bit in the list selection because I knew he had only brought a single list down, so he had brought his Assyria list, so he did not actually have the Kalissa list with him. So regardless, I wanted to play Orion again. I really liked Orion, and I wanted to shoot lots of Convergence solos and units off the board, so I chose Orion. And we squared off. I apologize, guys. I don't have any pictures for these ones. I decided to do this format actually after this tournament, so I didn't have much consistency in the pictures. Going forward, the plan is to have a picture at the end of each turn so you guys can see the board state and I can explain it a little bit easier. But in his Assyria list, he had Assyria, Silas Wishnailer, Hyperion, 2 Chimeras, Iris, 1, I believe, 2 Mage Hunter Assassins. I had Narn, 2 full units of Mage Hunter Strike Force with the UAs. And from bad experiences in Mark II, the Mage Hunter Strike Forces terrify me. I remember playing a Darius list where my high armor jacks just got blown off the table. And I remember just from the old rules how they used to ignore everything with their shots. Now, luckily, it's a mini feat that they have to do that allows them to ignore some of the different shenanigans for defense and stuff. But yeah, they definitely scared me. So I believe he won the role to go first. I don't fully recall. So just moving forward, so he moved forward, I moved forward, and the way it kind of panned out is that he unfortunately got to see how effective ground pounders are against infantry, particularly infantry that is relying on stealth to stay alive. So he had a lot of dudes, and he had them in such a way that it was hard to keep them all spread out. So he had I moved my 3 assimilators to hard to the right flank to try and take care of 1 unit there. His other unit was quite far to my left flank, so I decided to try to get just some blast damage on them. I had my Cipher move more toward that direction to help deal with them. And so on my turn, the first turn that his stuff was in range, I allocated out my focus. I moved forward my different servitors, my attunement servitors, to get some flares out just to help with the defense, and then I used ground pounders to good effect to take out as many of the mage hunters on the right hand side as possible. I also got some magic bullets out, obviously Avenging Force because it's a great spell. And I managed to use the magic bullets to take out some key solos like the UA on the right hand unit of mage hunters. I believe I also took out at least one of the mage hunter assassins and possibly one other thing. I knew that the arc nodes in his list were going to be a huge thing because blinding light would make my list very sad. My jacks not being able to shoot, I think blinding light costs 2, so we could potentially get it out 3 times, which could mean 3 of my jacks not shooting, which would have been very sad. So I knew I had to target there as well. So I managed to use my feat on one of the following turns to take out one of the arc nodes. The other one was pretty far back, but I put some good damage on it. And other than that, it was just spamming the ground pounder, using attacks from like the modulator, for example, or sorry, the monitor, for example, to get magic bullets in places where I needed them. I pretty much just ignored the colossal and tried to clear out as much as I could. I ended up clearing out the bulk of the right hand side, and I was scoring there and getting ahead in points. I not a whole lot of chance of me clearing out the left flank because he had his colossal there, but I managed to use some blast damage from the ciphers to clear out some of his mage hunter strike force on that side. And at this point, I got far enough ahead on the attrition that I was scoring pretty well. There was a big house in the middle of one of the zones, and I got super excited at one point of scoring even more points, planned it all out, did it all exactly how I wanted to, and then I did not realize it wasn't 2D terrain for the house. It was actually a 3D house, and Silas Wishnailer was actually hiding behind the house, and I did not realize he was there. So I did all the work to clear out that zone and get in a position to score that zone, and Silas sat behind the house and prevented that. So at this point, I was just kind of farming for the points. I was starting to get a bit lower on clock. I did have a couple of my simulators in range of Assyria. She was on a hill, but ground pounder, of course, ignores the elevation bonus. So I got to the point where I figured, okay, I should probably just end it. Moved forward my two assimilators, and I believe between those two, I actually rolled high enough just to outright kill her. She's pretty low armor, so I think I think she's maybe armor 13 or something. So it was pretty much straight dice. So a couple of hits was enough to take her out. But it was a fun game. I felt bad for my opponent because ground pounder and magic bullet can definitely be frustrating when you don't fully realize what it does and how much damage it can do against that much infantry. But had a blast at this tournament, learned lots. Lost one game and won two, so that was some good experience. And we managed to make it home safe and sound right before the highway was closed after a major accident. So that was good, but definitely a good experience. And I look forward to maybe getting down to Vancouver again sometime in the future for another tournament. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I will have my next game log up shortly. Take care.